For those of you that don't know me, my name is Joshua. I'm the youth guy here at As Is Church. This is Justin, and this is Comet. So welcome to the Youth Takeover. We're glad that you're here. Over the last 7 weeks, we have tackled a lot of mental health issues, ranging from anxiety all the way to grief. And this morning, we'll get to learn about our youth here at As Is Church. And we know that Scott, when Scott came to me told me about this message, I thought that it was going to be easy because I work with youth, right? But the reality is that our youth are very complex, and so that the things that they go through, the things that they struggle with, they vary and they're complex as well. And so the title of today's message is "If You Only Knew What We Were Going Through, the Struggles That We Face, and What We Need From You." So before we begin, I'd like to have Comet read Access Youth's mission statement.
Thank you, Joshua. Access Youth is a ministry of As Is Church that exists to share God's love with a broken and hurting world, with our aim being the youth. Access Youth shows the next generation that they matter to God and that they matter to us. We seek to provide a mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually safe place where youth can receive love, find belonging, and feel accepted. We seek to equip the youth to make choices that matter and make a difference in their lives and in the lives of others. In this, we believe we are following the example of Christ. Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you guys, how do you guys feel like we're doing with our mission statement? Do you guys feel like you're receiving love?
Yeah.
Yeah? What about finding belonging? Do you guys feel like you belong? Yeah?
Absolutely.
What about feeling accepted?
Yeah, I'd say so.
No?
Yup.
There's our youth for today, you guys. So what better way to provide a safe place than to understand what our youth are going through and meet them right where they are, just as Jesus meets every single one of us right where we are.
And not only does Jesus meet us where we all are, but he also leads us by example.
Which is one of the things that our youth have expressed that they need from you and me.
So this is going to be the first fill in the blank of your programs, and it's to lead by example.
So when we talk about lead by example, what do you guys think? What you got a story? You guys, what do you feel about that?
A few weeks ago, Josh was preaching up here, and he shared a verse from Matthew, and it talked about taking the plank out of your own eye before you can take the speck out of your brother's eye. And this can really help for the youth, because say you're trying to tell a kid not to smoke when he grows up, but then you're smoking, they're going to be like, why listen? But if you quit smoking, it could be even more powerful than somebody who never smoked to begin with. Because then, it's probably not very good.
So wait, you mean to tell me that when I was preaching a while back, you guys were actually paying attention?
I don't know about them.
Oh, man. So that our youth are actually paying attention to the things that we do. And they're paying attention to the words that we speak. And if our words don't actually match up to our actions, what's the point in paying attention to us?
So next, I want to read a few verses from 1 Peter, and this section of scripture was primarily focused on the office of elders, but because we're youth, most of you are elders to us, really, and you don't got to be as old as Pastor Scott to, help us learn. So, to the elders among you, I appeal as a fellow elder and a witness of Christ's sufferings, who also will share in the glory to be revealed. Be shepherds of God's flock that is under your care, watching over them, not because you must, but because you are willing, as God wants you to be. not pursuing dishonest gain, but eager to serve, not lording it over those entrusted to you, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away. In the same way, you who are younger, submit yourselves to your elders. All of you, clothe yourselves with humility towards one another, because God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you.
And as youth, we understand that this is a two-way street. And we are not asking you to be the only ones who put in effort. We know that this is an interdependent matter.
So today, my only goal is to represent our youth in a way that allows you to see their struggles, but also encourages you to get involved, to be a part of their future. So I want to give you a little bit of a story really quick about how I came to where I am today, the director of youth at As Is. And so a while back, we were meeting at the Old Hope Center, and I was serving in sound ministry, and Dave had approached me because there was a need in our youth ministry to serve on Sundays. And mind you, I'm sorry guys, but when I said yes, I'm a yes kind of guy. You guys know me, I love saying yes. And so when I was approached and asked to help serve in youth ministry, I said yes. But my heart wasn't sold. I wasn't in, I was just saying yes to fill a spot. And then I had a youth that came through the doors one Sunday morning, and she had expressed that every single church that she had went to had shunned her, had pointed their fingers at her, had judged her because of what she felt and the way she believed. And she started crying because she expressed that for the first time in her life, she felt like she could go to a church and belong. I started bawling. And for that moment on, I knew that God had a purpose for my life. He put me in this spot because he knew that I was a yes guy, right? He put me in this spot to impact the youth of today. And I realized that today, now that I get to work with these guys, how great of a position it is. And sometimes it is hard. But it just started with me saying, yes, I'm going to get involved. Yes, I'm going to serve. Yes, I'm going to lead by example.
This is the second fill in the blank in your program. We, the youth, are a part of God's flock.
Do you think that shepherds give hope to their flock? The way that they lead their flock, the way that they take care of them, in a sense, gives them hope. And see, one of the needs that were expressed by our youth, and this is the third fill in the blank, is that our youth need hope. Justin, comment, do you guys have a story about hope and the need for hope?
Back a couple years ago when I was in like 8th grade, I had an English teacher who asked the class, what do you guys want to do when you get a little older, when you get out of high school? And a lot of them, they didn't really have any dreams or aspirations. It was a lot of like minimum wage, dead-end jobs. And it can really be bad for a youth if they don't have any hopes for the future. And if you don't think that you can get anywhere else, if your life really sucks right now, they could turn to things like drugs and alcohol to help it feel better.
How about you, comment?
I do actually have a story. There's a very famous YouTuber. Some of you may know about him, Casey Neistat, vlogger, NYC vlogger, has somewhere over I think 10 million subs. He's doing pretty good. And in his introductory video on his channel, he shared that all his life he was being told, you can't do these things, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't move to New York City, you can't start a film career, you can't do all these different things. And he, in fact, shared that one of his teachers, when he was very young and still in school, told him that he would be working a dead-end job as a gas station cashier or something, that he would go nowhere in life. And yet here he is with a successful career, a lot of loving fans, and a happy life, doing the things exactly how he wanted.
And so, in a sense, this guy, Casey, he kind of gives you hope kind of for the future, right?
Yeah.
But as shepherds of God's flock, it's not to say, you can't do this, you can't do that, but it's rather to say, hey, you can do this, right? Feed the flock, give them hope, lead by example, show them that they matter to God and that they matter to us. I think about when youth come up to me and they say, man, I want to be a basketball player. Okay, well, what's it going to take to become a basketball player? Hard work, right? But not only that, but building a plan for them. Setting them up to achieve that goal, not setting them up for failure.
And with that, we actually have a list here of some of the ways that you can help us find hope. First one, listen and be empathetic. Confide in each other. Offer guidance on how to persevere despite challenges. Connect us through community. Guide us to describe the type of future we want and help us to design the path to get there.
You know, and I think about my generation, the millennials, we kind of screwed up in the world a little bit. But as I work with the kids of today, the generation of today, Gen Z and Alpha Gen, and I realize that they are really community oriented. They want community, as to where my generation wanted independence. We want to be alone. We want to be left alone. Let me figure this out for myself. The youth today are actually acting in a way that God created us all to act, to want community, to thrive in community, to desire being led, walked with. Our youth, some of the youth that we work with have abandonment struggles. People have came in their life and walked out of their life. Just stay. Just be a part of their life. Don't look in from the outside and give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Actually take them by the hand and walk with them. Do what Jesus did. How do you guys feel about this list?
I think it's really important to help youth design a path to get to where they want to go, because that's a big thing to help them have hope. And there was a kid in that class who couldn't really see very well. She needed help getting to classes and to lunch, but she still had bigger dreams than most of those kids. She wanted to be a voice actor for Disney, and the main reason she was able to believe that she could make it there is because she had a teacher that really cared and had faith in her and talked about it with her, showing her what she would need to do.
Do you think when Jesus called the disciples, he was just like, well, hey, good luck, guys, I'll see you around? No, I think Jesus led by example, didn't he? And not only did he lead by example, but he made out a clear path. He laid out a path for them. And so our youth today are asking for the same thing. They're asking, hey, will you lay out a path for us, with us, and show us so that when it's our time, we're confident.
So I'm going to read something from the National Institute of Health. According to this quote from the National Institute of Health, hope has also been specifically shown to have a positive relationship with academic success in high school and psychological well-being in terms of personal adjustment and life satisfaction. Evidence has demonstrated that hope can also be a protective factor for adolescents who are at risk.
And on the other side of hope is hopelessness and despair, both of these ingredients to depression.
Which leads us to another struggle that our youth face.
This is the fourth fill in the blank in your program. We struggle with mental health issues. According to this quote from the CDC, mental health problems in youth often go hand in hand with other health and behavioral risks like increased risk of drug use, experiencing violence, and higher risk sexual behaviors.
Now, not all of our youth are struggling with these things. They may struggle with mental health, but they don't struggle with addiction but some of the youth that I know that I'm working with do struggle with some of these things.
Some of the many mental health issues that us youth can face are depression, anxiety, stress, addiction, and anger.
So when we highlight these specific mental health issues, is there something that you guys have to add to this?
A lot of youth who had mental health issues before COVID, or developed them during COVID, they ended up becoming 10 times worse throughout that, and now are really bad because school can be a place for kids to like escape and just be safe, not have to worry about anything. And through COVID, they were stuck at home.
And Comet, you've struggled with some of these things, right?
Yeah, I've struggled with most of the things on that list.
And how would you say that you've been able to even overcome some of those things?
Well, through the hope that I can get better and working on myself with the help of others.
So actually by coming to a lot of the things that we offer here at the Hope Center, you've been able to really get involved and have a little hope for the future. And if you have hope for the future, it actually sets you up to start looking at the brighter of things rather than the darker of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with that, here are some practical ways that you can help us. Listen to us, our problems and needs, and respect them, and be the best role model you can be for youth by taking care of your own mental and physical health. We learn behaviors and habits from our environment, and only you can model good habits by talking to us about the importance of mental health, seeking help when you need it, and showing positive ways that you deal with challenges so that we can learn from you.
So I have a few lists here that a lot of our youth participated in writing down some of the struggles that they deal with today, and things that they need from you. And so some of our youth have said that they struggle with judgment.
Yeah, I can relate to that. The awkward pause.
What kind of judgment and from where?
Well, people not accepting you for who you are, people who just outright refuse you even with no good reason to.
I think a lot of the youth who can judge people, because youth will judge other youth, a lot of times it's because if you see somebody who's usually big and tough in front of somebody who they really admire or want to learn from, a lot of times they'll become a little softer and they aren't interested in trying to act tough.
What about, do you guys feel any judgment from the adults?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that echoes from other youth that I have worked with, right? That girl that came into that Sunday morning youth service and told me that every church that she has ever went to, she's felt judged. And that judgment wasn't just from other kids, but it was from the church itself. And so what are you doing today to not judge our youth, but understand them and love them? To get on their level and to believe in them. To say that they matter. Because you guys know that you do matter. Some of our youth have expressed that they need motivation. Can you guys give me a little bit more on that? Like, what do you think this motivation is? What does it look like?
I think it's the ability, the want to get out of bed, the want to jump up and start doing things, to feel like you have a purpose and that there's hope for your future.
And what does this look like? Like, what does it look like for an adult to motivate you?
I think it helps a lot, just the same thing we were talking about earlier, the adult finding a way to help you figure out the plan. And sometimes you might not even have like a dream for somebody to kill, because a lot of times you'll be like, no, you can't even do that, but you can't do that if there's not a dream to begin with. So if the adult can help find something that a youth would be willing to sacrifice and wake up early for, that'll make it better.
You know, I think when I ask the question, I have a lot of conversations with our youth, and I often ask them, what do you want for your future? And some of them don't even know how to answer that question. And I think that as an elder in their life, as an adult that's in their life, I'm put in a wonderful position to where I can watch them. I can see them, I can pay attention to them to where I can actually see their passions because I'm so involved in their life. I can see what they're passionate about and I can push them into a direction. I mean, Justin loves basketball. And it's like, okay, well, if Justin loves how can I push him in a way that increases that passion for basketball? You know, and how can I feed into his life that allows him to expand on the skills needed for basketball? Can I connect him to people that maybe basketball may not be my passion, but I know a lot of people whose passion is basketball. And I can now connect him to those people. So some of our youth have mentioned that to get up in the morning because there is nothing to look forward to, and some teens think that their life has no purpose.
I can certainly relate to that. I've felt that before. It's been hard plenty of times in my life to just get up and get out of bed because it just feels like it's not worth it. What's the point? Why don't I just lay here instead and sleep, do something on my phone? Why go out and do all these things when I could just be sitting here?
And how do you, what combats that? Like what is the opposite of that, and how do you get out of that?
Y'all are gonna go crazy over this, but it's hope.
You hear that? It's hope. You know, and since I've been working with our youth, you know, like growing up in my generation, I'm like, there's no hope. Like we're going down the drain. And I'm telling you that our future is bright. As an adult to another adult, our future is bright because of these guys. Because of the desire that God has placed in their heart to be in community, to be involved together, to work in unity, right? There's hope for our future. That's right. Some teens have wrote down that they have trouble making friends because of the way that they live.
Yeah, I already mentioned that in the judgment bit. Yeah, I've met people who certainly did not accept me whatsoever for who I am. People who just absolutely refused me, and even sometimes I've been persistent, but they just keep just ignoring me, no matter how much. And yeah.
Thank you. One of the youth have said, teach me to control my anger. How many of you guys struggle with anger? Do any of you know how to get over anger? You know how to deal with it? Because if you do, our youth want help. And do you see that they struggle with that too? Right? So it's actually the idea that we're interdependent on each other. Do you see how God created us so uniquely that the things that we struggle with, our teens struggle with too? Y'all are just a little bit further ahead, hopefully. Maybe our teens might be a little further ahead. I'll tell you, since God has placed me in this position, the way that they have impacted my life is crazy. Right? They have given me hope to really encourage them, to build them up for this future that is ours, that is God's future.
In the first list that I read off of, I wanted to point out how important it was, the Connect Us Through community segment, because when you really think about it, community is a huge part of our lives, and it always has been. Look around you right now. Look at everything around you. Look at everything in this room, and think about it. How did we get this microphone? How did we get those lights? How did we get this entire building, as a matter of fact? Community. People working together.
And as I continue to press into the Bible and I continue to read the Bible, I see God's heart for community, the way that he actually created us. And so when I tell you about the youth giving me hope, speaking into my life, it's because they're naturally drawn to that. And I'm grateful for these guys. And I wanted to ask as the worship team can come back up, if we can have all of the youth in the building come up here to the front. I want us as a church to gather around all of our youth and pray for them and pray for their future and pray for the fact that God has his hand on their life. And so if we could have the church come up and gather around our youth. Come on. I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for participating in this and making this happen. Let's give them a big hand. Every single youth that I work with participated in making this sermon possible. Everybody contributed in some way, shape, or form.